Welcome to Etap Sports Xtra, and just the home of sport analysis and a home of winners. So, yesterday things did not go very well. I can say very well because our one package went through, two actually did not go through, and of course here are yesterday result. But remember, we said already earlier that some days are good, some days are bad. So let's dive in and see, check on our first package what happened and how were the scores. So the first one was Real Madrid versus Getafe. That match ended 0, of course, 1, and Getafe bet Real Madrid. Remember, we had guarded Real Madrid at home. Yes, we had given 1x to Real Madrid. It's a disappointment, and I know someone will not say that this game they expected Real Madrid to be beaten. This game was a tough one. I watched until the end, and they ended up getting a red card there when things were not well for them. Now, the second game that also hold us on our first package was the game of Pisa and Bolgona, and Bolgona only managed to score 1 goal. Pisa did not score any goal, but of course our expectation in this game was also more than 1 goal, but only we managed to get a single goal in that game. Gil Vincent versus Benfica, yes, we got to that. The match also we expected more than 1 goal, ended 2-1 in favor of Benfica. Now, when you go to the second package, that is Cote d'Ivoire versus Andorra. That match ended 4-1 in favor of Andorra, and of course we're also expecting more than 1 goal. Omonia and Apollon. This is where there was a mix-up of the name, that I used Niskar instead of the full name Omonia, but that game also ended well, and I thank those who took the initiative of sending. Sometimes the names are very long, but of course I just now have to abbreviate some and put the common one. Yes, and that game also that predictions also went through. Then the one that hold us in the second package we are going to get was Francense versus Afalgagura. That is still in Portugal. That match ended 0-0. Yes, so that one had to make us, we get only 2 out of 1. That is, of course, 2 out of 3 in that second package. Now, the third package, it's what keep us celebrating. That match ended very well, and goals we again scored in this very package. PFC Sochi versus Sparta Moscow. That's in Russia. That game ended well. Of course, we guarded Sparta Moscow, and they scored 3-2 goals. And then only this Fiorentina. Only this bet Fiorentina 3-0. We expected 1.5. Then Birmingham versus Middlesbrough. We expected more than 1 goal, and Middlesbrough, of course, also happened to score. So these were the results of yesterday. Congratulations just for that one. But all in all, we said winners never quit. We shall continue. Some days you win, some days you fail, and we say that do it responsible. There's nothing like being successful without failure. It's part of this game. Now, the game for today, there are also many games. Premier League show, as I said yesterday, that we meet again this morning, and also other cups like Copa del Rey, and also France Coup d'Etat also is available, and others Copa Italian, they're all available for today. So I'm starting straight with Barcelona in our first package versus Atlético Madrid. We all know that in the last 5 games, of course, Barcelona won 4, they lost 1, and Atletico won 2, lost 2, and draw 1. But this is the same cup that we find that Atletico Madrid at one point they actually bet Barcelona on this very game. Yeah. Now, if you had to look at head-to-head meeting between these two teams, Barcelona won 3. In the last 5 meetings, Barcelona won 3, draw 1, and Atletico also won 1. Now, Remember, Atletico Madrid, even if it's not doing fine, there is some way they have the history with Barcelona, and that match always there are goals scored there. And today I'm just going with both teams to score in this very game, because Barcelona sometimes prove to be very stubborn, and Atletico Madrid sometimes, some cases, prove also to be very stubborn. So I'm going with both teams to score in this very fast game. Now, the second game that we need to look at is from France. That also go. This cup is Strawbergs versus Remins, and we all know that Strawbergs in the last 5 games they won only one, draw two, lost two. That's best on the previous, and Rennes won one and also draw 2 3. Now, if you're to look at this very much head to head, Rennes won 2, Strasbourg won 2. There was a single draw between these two teams. But if you're to see this draw, how did the game end? Of course, in favor, and how did they score goals? You find that there's always a slim difference. Sometimes it's 2-2, 3-3, 1-1, 0-0. So it happens, yes, between these two teams. So it is game for us to be very little bit safe. Anything can happen. We are going with more than one goal. Over 1.5 is what we're going with, basing on the statistics that we have. Now, the third game in this very first ticket is Sporting Lisbon versus FC Porto. This one is Taka da Porto. That is the cup they are playing. Don't think it's a Primera that they're playing. And of course, now this is the the second position versus the first. And you know that in this very game is opposite. The first one sitting on the first in the last 5 games, of course, was beaten, and which is actually not that very good for the history. And also, Sporting Lisbon won 2, and this game ended most of the time 1-1. We know that last time when they played, and sometimes 1-0 in favor of maybe the away home team, then 2-2, then 2-0. So these are things that we expect from this very game. Now, in this very game, FC Porto is slippery. Sporting Lisbon is very slippery. We are going with more than one goal in this game, over 1.5. So what we're going with in this very game. So I repeated the first package. Barcelona versus Atletico Madrid, both teams to score. Strawbergs versus Rennes, over 1.5. Sporting Lisbon versus FC Porto, over 1.5. That is our first package. Then the second package is Como versus Inter Milan. This is Coppa Italian, and we need to look at what is it in the last 5 games. Of course, Como won 2, drew 3, lost 1, and Inter Milan, of course, won that 4. That is when we bet on Italian game. And in the last 3 meetings this team has met, Como has not beaten Inter Milan. Inter Milan won all the 3 matches. That is why we can see that in this game. But right now, Como is doing quite well. For us to be safe, only as investors, of course, are a little bit safe. We're going with over 1.5 to be safe in this game, because Inter Milan sometimes prove also now not to be in that doing quite well, because Como is also fighting for position. Yeah, over 1.5 is what we're going with. The 5th game is from Premier League. That's Bournemouth versus Brentford. We all know that there's history behind these two teams. And this is the team you need to look at what happened. Always play safely. And remember, anything can happen. Bournemouth won 2 and draw 3 in the last 5 games. They haven't lost. Brentford, on the other hand, won 3, lost 1 and draw 1. Take one. But if you're to look at the history between these two teams, Brentford has never lost in the last 5 games. They have beaten Bournemouth in all those meetings. But if you're to look with which match, you find that both sides are always scoring goals. Yes, there's a time the game ended 3-2, 2-1. 2-1 is very common. 2-1 is very common here. Now, if you're to look, because the reason, of course, was 4-1, that's when Brentford bet them, 4 has to be very safe. I say this game as let's go with over 1.5, because Brentford can do anything, and also Bournemouth can surprise, because we've also seen teams surprising others. Yeah, let's go with over 1.5. That the second game, of course, in that second ticket is Venezia versus Avilion. That is still that is Italian, of course, too. And if you're to look at Venezia, of course, in the last 5 games, they won 3, lost 1, draw 1, and they're sitting comfortable in the first position. Avelion, of course, lost 3, draw 1, sits on the 13th position. Look at one, of course, of the recent meeting between these two teams. They drew. The match ended 1-1. Yes, when the head-to-head meeting. So what do we expect from this game today? Remember, it's going to be a tough one. In this very game, we are going to see that either a Venezuela take it or draw. So home team to win or draw is what I'm going with, because it's a tough one. If you have to look at their goal scoring, it's not all that very big, because even going with over 1.5, anything can happen. The game can end 0-0. So, or 1-0. Then it happens like for Real Madrid. So as to be a little bit safe, Valencia to win or draw. Now the third one, that is the third ticket. Of course, I have to make the summary for the second ticket. Is Como versus Inter Milan. We're going with over 1.5. Bournemouth, Brentford. We're still going with over 1.5. And then Venezia versus Avil. I'm going to give home team to win or draw. That is the final decisions in this. So that is our second package. The third one of the day is Kamba versus Almere City. So you look at Kamba in the last, of course, I can say 21 meeting, Kamba won 14, draw 5, Almere City won 1. And you find that goals are always scored here. And in the last, of course, recent meeting, you find that Kamba got a upper hand. They are scoring goals for. So for this game, I'm going with both teams to score. Yes, Kamba and Almere City, because Almere City is a team that is very stubborn, always finding the back of the net as well, scoring. And Kamba, proven also to be a little bit leggy, they concede a lot of goals. Yeah. Then the next, the ninth game is Wolves, still Premier League versus Liverpool. And this is the toughest one, but I told you Liverpool got history. And in the last 5 games, Liverpool won 4, lost 1, and Wolves won 1, draw 2, lost 2. Now 20th position versus the 5th position, but history, we have head-to-head meeting between Liverpool and Wolves. Liverpool has beaten Wolves 5 times in the last 5 meetings, and the game is always 2-1, 2-1, 2-1, 2-0. That is the score for this team. Now, in this very game, we're going to also expect to see that we have more than 1.5. Yes, more than one goal. We expect over 1.5, because remember, Wolves has proven to be very stubborn. They disturbed Arsenal, and then also the same time we saw how tough they are. So anything can happen. History can be overturned. The last game of the day is Telford United versus Lamington. That is in North League. Yes, this league, North League. Then Telford draw 3, won 2. They haven't lost, and the player is Lamington, who lost all the 5 games. So in this very game, it's where I'm going with a straight win for Telford United. Yes, because in the recent meeting, Telford last year, 2025, with this, they bet them 3-1. Yes, when they were away from home. So in this game, I'm going with Telford to win. Now, I will do the summary for the last one. Is Kamba versus Almere City. Both teams to score. Wolves versus Liverpool, expect over 1.5 based on the statistic. Telford United versus Lamington, we're going to say straight win for that. So we said winners never quit. And remember, thank you so much for those who have just joined me. You're welcome, and thanks for subscribing, sharing, and liking. And remember that I don't say that it's 100%. We know that we give our predictions based on the analysis and anything and the statistics that we've covered, but anything can happen in football. And say there are some days we win or some days you lose. So all in all, thank you so much, and I hope you have enjoyed this analysis. See you in the next video, as of course the Premier League continues for some teams and cups. All the best. Love you all.